Hey guys, welcome back to the Night Homestead. Today's video is going to be us showing you how to make eggplant parmesan. If you haven't already watched a few of our videos, we are just taking you guys along, showing you project by project what we're growing the first time here on our homestead and just taking you guys along. We've already done one video of us harvesting our zucchini and showing you a meal with that, and some of you like the videos of us showing you how we cook our food, and so that's why we wanted to bring y'all along today and show y'all how we make eggplant parmesan. So we've never grown eggplants before. This is our first time. The variety of eggplant that we grew is called a fairy tale variety. So it's not a real big long eggplant like you normally see. It's more of a smaller eggplant. And so the recipe calls for one small eggplant, which would normally mean, you know, at about that side, that's pretty wide. But since these are little, we're going to use more than just one small eggplant, but we'll talk more about that once we get inside. So let's go pick some eggplants. Okay, so here's a look at our two eggplant. Okay, so this is a, dwarf variety, and you want to harvest them when they're about 4 inches long. That way they're sweet and they're not bitter tasting. So we're going to go ahead and harvest these. So all these big ones here are about 4 inches, so those are the ones that I'm going to cut. So these are all of our eggplants. Pretty big one, aren't they? Okay, so our recipe also calls for an egg. As you'll see, our olive egger hens just started laying, so they have an egg in here for us. And this is Abigail. She is one of our olive egger hens. We'll meet her. She's very pretty. And she's gray and she's orange. And she is our first hen to lay an egg. Okay, so now that we're inside, we're going to go ahead and set our oven to 400 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and start working on breading my eggplants. So we're going to start with our ingredients of what we'll need. So the first thing is 1 egg beaten. This is the egg we got out of the coop. Then you're going to want to get 1 cup of marinara sauce. Our favorite is the Rao's natural marinara sauce. You want 1 cup of that. And then you want a cup of freshly shredded mozzarella cheese. And then you want 1/2 cup of cornflakes cereal crumbs. So we just put these in a bag with full flakes, and then we used a rolling pin and crushed them up. Then you want to get 1/4 cup of melted butter. This is butter that we made earlier this week from the raw cow milk. And then you want to get 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And then this actually I'm going to use for the marinara sauce. This is just 3 cloves of garlic minced up. And then this is 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a dash of pepper. And then you want the eggplants. So these are browning, as you can see, really quickly. I just peeled them and sliced them. I have a visitor. Can you hear him? Hey! This recipe calls for a small, regular size eggplant. And you would want to cut it in thick slices. Like I said, we have the dwarf little fairy tale eggplants. We didn't know when we got them that they were going to be that little. We just knew they were going to be a sweet variety. So we're kind of just making them to where they're thin, long slices instead of, the circle slices, because they wouldn't be really thick enough to cover the dish. So we cut our eggplant long ways. So you want to get your melted butter. Our melted butter. Pour that into our dish. I'm just going to... And I know this is a pie dish. It's just what I think will work best. Okay, so you want to get your 1 egg in a shallow dish. And then you want another shallow dish. And you're going to put your cornflakes, your Parmesan cheese, and your salt and pepper. We're going to stir this up. So you can see that's all mixed together. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to coat each piece of the eggplant in the egg mixture. And then we're going to coat it in the crumb layer. And then we're going to put 1 even layer in our dish. Okay, so these are all breaded and placed in the dish, and we are going to put these in the oven and bake them for 20 minutes. And then after 20 minutes, we're gonna flip the slices over and bake for an additional 15 minutes and then pour our marinara sauce on. So while it's baking, I'm going to go ahead and start on the marinara sauce and finish with the noodles. So now that we have that in the oven, we're going to bake that at 400 for 20 minutes and then check it, flip it over for another 10 to 15 minutes. So while that's in the oven, I'm going to start the noodles. I just put a little bit of olive oil in there, salt and pepper, and then 16 ounces of noodles. And then in another saucepan, I have got the garlic and olive oil simmering, and I'm going to let that simmer for a few minutes, and then I'm going to put the marinara sauce in the saucepan. And I'm just going to let that warm up so it's nice and warm whenever we go to put the marinara sauce over the eggplants at the end. It's nice and warm so that cheese can melt on it. So that's what I'm going to do now, is get a pot of noodles going and start the garlic on the saucepan. Okay, so for those noodles, they are done, and I have just strained them, and then I added a little bit of butter. That's optional. If you don't like your noodles butter, you don't have to do that. But I added some butter, and then I went ahead and added some more marinara sauce to the spaghetti. I forgot to mention that in the very beginning that you will need. I just bought a big jar of the marinara sauce. I'm using a cup for the eggplant, and then I'm using just the rest of the jar for the noodles. So I just went ahead and put the rest of that jar over the noodles, and I'm just going to turn it on low or simmer mode and just let those noodles stay warm while the eggplants finish cooking. Okay, so the timer just went off. We're going to get these out and flip them over. I was going to use tongs, but the best thing really would be to like flip them over. Now I'm going to, there are some spots that are kind of bare and showy that have come off. Sprinkle over the rest of the remaining crumbs over the bare spots. They'll all be covered. And now we're going to put these back in for about 10 minutes. And I still have my marinara sauce going. It's staying warm. And then I just added the marinara sauce to the spaghetti. And it's on low simmer mode, so it's staying warm also. I'm just gonna go ahead and put some garlic bread in while I'm doing this. Okay, so the timer has gone off. We're going to get this out. Garlic bread for tonight. So here's what that looks like right before we put this marinara on top of it. So we're just gonna pour the marinara on top of that. I'm just going to kind of spread this around to where each piece is evenly coated. And now we're going to put the mozzarella cheese on top. So now we're going to put that back in the oven for about 5 minutes until the cheese melts. Okay, so now that it's out of the oven, we're going to give it a taste. That is really good. This is an easy meal too if you don't have meat. And this is traditionally done with like chicken or other types of meat. And so this is a good alternative. You can just use your eggplant. And if you're looking for another vegetable to grow, and that's a fun one. So this is really delicious. I can't wait to eat the rest of it tonight for dinner. Thank y'all so much for watching our video. And we'll catch y'all in the next one.